do actually quite a bit of mana burn and damage to the enemy heroes. It's a great item for this type of game, which is basically who can push who harder and time it better. And it looks like Obsidian Destroyer bought back, I think. Yeah, he definitely bought back to revive this quickly. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about Winter. I guess a pipe right. I'm happy. And Scourge is just going to be happy with the second tier middle tower and is going to resort back to farming. Bristleback has still not picked up any real damage items. He is not that big of a threat in team fights, really. I mean, he does a fair amount of damage. I know. But dang, I just wish he would have... Actually, I wish Syllabear would not have gotten a Radiance and gone for something else. Actually, that may have been a better use of gold, is if Syllabear had done anything else but get a Radiance. If he had gone for something like Necronomicon himself, or if he had gone for the Assault Cures first, or just got items for himself and one or two for his bear, I think it would have worked out better and more to their advantage, so that Syllabear is not the primary focus and Bristleback is, because that's what Bristleback wants to be, is the focus for the team. It looks like Earthshaker's trying to farm up for his dagger finally. He's only 200 away from it, so that should be online fairly quickly, because he's realizing that this game is really about the team fights and who can use the advantage that they get when they win a team fight. Because both teams really want to push. There's no other way to put that. Both of these teams want to push. So it's really about who can win a team fight and then capitalize on it. Win a team fight, capitalize on it. One team fight tends to equal one tower or one Rex for this game especially. So both teams are gearing towards that. They're tanking up. And yes, Batrider did go for Shiva's Guard, electing to get the extra armor. And it's really just about who can outlast who. Which is a little bit of a weird way to play Dota given the current metagame, but it's still it's still a very fun way to play, and still a very viable strategy, especially when both teams are on the same page, so to speak. When both teams are playing by the same rules, it can get very interesting very quickly. And Witch Doctor looks like... Nah, he knows this isn't real. Or if he doesn't, he's very silly. It looks like he's going for an Aghanim Scepter. He's actually been pretty much just left alone every time he ults. He's able to just sit there and channel it for between 5 and 10 seconds every time. So he's just going to go for the Aghanim Scepter, say, okay guys, you're going to let me have it? I'll work with you. And I believe Undying should probably do the same thing. And yeah, he does have the point booster, so he's probably going to be going for an Aghanims as well. Now, I know this point in the game for a lot of programs is very low action, but there's a reason for this. At this point in the game, everybody needs to stay together as a team, because this is when the key team fights happen. As soon as you win a team fight or pick off a hero, you automatically give your team the ability to push with an advantage. And the more team fights you can win at this point, the more you're going to be the better chance you give yourself to win the game. So this is the reason a lot of pro teams stick together. They do the team jungle sort of thing. I know they get made fun of it, but it's actually the thing to do at this point in the game. And Odie does have his Bloodstone online. So we're probably going to see an engagement here pretty soon. I believe Roshan's back up. Yes, he is back up. So both teams are trying to figure out who's going to push and who's going to go for Roshan first, because both teams want to initiate. There's a great ultimate from Earthshaker, catches all the heroes and clears a creep wave, but unfortunately doesn't kill anybody with that. I think he may pay for it with his life. No, they're just going to let him walk out, and nobody's dying yet. Enigma gets a great ultimate. I think he's got 4 heroes in here. Yes, he does, and I think he's just going to turn around and die right after this. Yes, he does, and it looks like Bristleback's going to go down, and wow! Sentinel's doing a really good job of making sure that the enemy team pays for this. They've only lost their Obsidian Destroyer, which is a lot of their damage for sure, but it is not enough to handicap them completely. It is now 4-on-2, so they definitely have the ability to make a push out of this. And I don't know why they're continuing to chase. It's just they have a Syllabear with no HP and no bear, and they have a Clockwork, which is out of mana. I don't know why they're pushing. They should really just turn around and push the racks pretty much. And yes, it looks like they finally realized this, and they are going to transition into push middle. So they only have 30 seconds now because they've done all this chasing to get up here and get this tower down, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think they're going to be able to get it to like half HP maybe, and then they're just going to have to back out. A little bit unfortunate because they do have their top lane down here, which is getting pushed by the creeps as well. So yes, I believe this is going to be about the time when Sentinel decides to leave. And yes, I don't know why Windrunner is being slow to realize this, but yeah, she finally does realize it and leaves with her team. And somebody should have teleported down here to farm this, in all honesty. I don't know who would be the best candidate for this, but somebody. Yeah, probably Obsidian Destroyer, who I'm interested to see what he gets next. If he follows the tank trend that this game is taking, he'll probably get a Shivas. And if he doesn't, he'll probably end up with a Sheepstick or a BKB. Actually, BKB would probably be his better buy here, in my opinion. Because there's just a lot of single targets, or there's a few key singles target stuns that tend to get used up on him. Earthshaker's Fisher, Enigma's Malefice tend to get used up on him. And it won't stop the Entangle from Syllabear, and it will stop most of Clockwork's abilities as well, so... Actually, it only really stops 2 or 3 abilities, so... Actually, yeah, BKB would not be the choice. I'd probably just go straight for Shiva. I like that, how you immediately make an opinion, then you realize, wow, I'm an idiot, I'm going to change it. It looks like Sentinel's going to attempt another push here in the middle lane. Either that or just trying to get the lane pushed out so they can go Roshan. I'm not sure which one. They would probably like to finish off this tower and get the racks if they could, but this is going to be a full-on 5v5 team fight if they do, so this is probably going to be quite a bit of finagling before this happens, because the Scourge team has a lot of anti-push ability. In between the Syllabear having his Bear Radiance, and between the Eidolons off Enigma, and between the Quill Spray off the Bristleback, and the Clock Rockets, there's just a lot of anti-pushing power. Or in particular, a lot of AoE presence for the Scourge team. I thought there was still a tower down there for some reason. But yeah, this is probably the game with the most AoE I've seen in a long time, actually. And there are really only just a few select single-target spells on each team. There's really just all about the AoE this game. Excuse me. I'm going to take a little breather, get some tea. Especially with a big team fight probably coming up, I'm going to need it for my throat. Because, man, this is a long game. It's already been 42 minutes. Wow. That means we have at least another half hour to go. I usually don't point that out. That's why I put up this black bar over here. But every now and again, I'll let you guys in on how much time is left, if it's a lot. But let's see. It looks like Sentinel realizes they are not going to be able to push, and so they just decide that they're probably going to be better off getting some more farming done first, and probably try to force an issue with Roshan. But they're going to need wards first, which are coming to them right now. I think Windrunner bought them. Windrunner does have her Necro 3 now, so they have True Sight that way. Maybe it was someone else, but they're just sitting smoke in the Roshan pit, just trying to anticipate the Scourge team coming to gank it. Yeah, it was Windrunner that bought the wards, making sure that the Scourge doesn't know they're here, and they do not. So they should just start killing Roshan. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're continuing to jockey around for this. They know that the Scourge is in their base. Or, no, wait. Well, they don't really know that, but I would guess that. Given that they weren't here, and they're definitely not here, I would guess that they're still hanging around in their base somewhere. Especially if you haven't seen any Clock Rockets recently. But it looks like Scourge has decided that the Sentinel's probably Roshan, so they're going to go try to run down and make something happen. Enigma's smartly waiting outside the Roshan pit to jump in if they're there, and they are not. Same for ES. Both of them are just going to camp outside the Roshan pit and wait for something to happen. And I don't know what that blink was all about. And yes, we're going to see some posturing around the Roshan pit, and whew, it's really hard to tell who has the advantage right now. Sentinel definitely has a greater AoE presence in terms of burst, but the Scourge definitely has the longer over time AoE presence in between Bristleback and Syllabear. I mean, they do have one good burst in ES, but I don't think that outweighs the amount of burst that the Sentinel can do. And Windrunner continuing to use her Power Shot to scout. A lot of Windrunner players don't know this, but Power Shot actually does give you vision for, I believe it's 3 or 5 seconds, so you can use this to scout things like the Roshan pit, up a hill you can't see, things like that. And it's really a great utility spell, even if it's not a good nuke anymore in the late game. let's see. I think that it's really at this point all about who decides to go in here first. And Bristleback has gotten a blade mail. Yeah, whatever. We'll just forget that I know what I'm talking about, and we'll just say, yeah, you're a smart guy for tanking up so hard, even though they have no reason to attack you. None at all. Anyway, but Batrider also using his Flame Break for vision. Actually, I didn't realize this, but Sentinel has quite a few spells to give them vision, and Syllabare's going to lose his bear. He's going to have to recast it. And good job, Syllabare, recognizing that he is now more powerful than his bear and transferring all of his items to himself. I'm very happy with this because a lot of Syllabare players just continue to leave the items on the bear. And lots of jockeying and finagling around. This is really just about, I don't want to initiate, and neither does the other team, so it's really about who's willing to bite the bullet first. It looks like Sentinel is going to try to initiate on the Syllabare. Yes, there goes the Tombstone. This is going to be a quick initiation. Unfortunately, a lot does not happen. And Earthstriker gets a good ultimate down on the Obsidian Destroyer, who I believe is going to be able to banish himself. Yes, he is going to be able to banish himself. And I believe that the Syllabare is not long for life anymore. Neither is this Earthshaker, actually. And Enigma gets a ult just on Winter. We're going to ignore that. And I believe Syllabare is going to go down. Ooh, is he going to go down? He's got such low HP. He's down to 50. If they could kill him, this would be great. And I believe Undying is actually going to be the one to go down here. And Bat's going to Shiva and blink out. That did not quite go the way Sentinel would have liked it to. Oh, I take that back. Somebody picked off Enigma. Well, it doesn't really matter. You can kill an Enigma without an ult, and it doesn't matter that much. And I believe we're going to see this. Yeah, Winter is going to go down. I thought Bat was going to go down to Earthshaker, but no, not quite. And yeah, Sentinel has lost control of the match here. And Bat a little bit, and they are going to have to continue to claw in order to make this work. Witch Doctor is not even able to contend with the creeps anymore. And I believe that Scourge is going to get a free Aegis out of this. As soon as Syllabare gets down here, this is a dead Roshan. So I'm interested to see who they give this to. I would probably give it to Syllabare. He's continuing to be the more powerful out of the two farm-heavy heroes, and Bristleback and Syllabare for the Scourge team. Man, I'm really disappointed with this Bristleback. I would have much rather have seen something a little bit more interesting, but oh well, what can you do? It looks like Batrider knows they're in there, but there's not a lot he can do by himself. And yes, they do, in fact, give the Aegis to the Lone Druid. And Sentinel is now forced to babysit their top lane because they lost this tower a little while ago. And if you don't babysit your lanes without your towers, you just lose the racks without realizing that they're gone. I've had that happen a few times. We forgot to babysit, I think it was our bottom lane actually, on Sentinel. We just lost a tower in a team fight, and we're like, oh well, the racks are still there. And we went to push middle, and we let a big creep wave build up, just walk in, and they killed our racks as we killed their racks, and it was just hilarious. Oh, dear me. Good times, good times. Gotta love pub games. That was back in my pub days. I'm trying to do a whole lot more in-house type games recently. Because I'm actually in the middle of, I don't know if you've seen my posts in a few random places. I've got a friend of mine, my old college roommate, that is trying to form a DotA team to take part in some of the tournaments in North America. And it's me and this guy, Shangri-La. And we've got a couple of guys that are interested. They're actually pretty good. We've got a couple of other guys that aren't so good that we would love to replace. But we'll just take what we can get is kind of the idea right now, because we don't really have a big, huge reputation for attracting players. But anyway, that's enough about that. And actually, I can talk about Shang for a little bit. He's a very interesting man. Let's put it this way, he was a psychology major, and he plays a lot of Dota, but he's one of those guys that likes to master things. So he only really, really knows how to play about maybe 5 or 7 heroes really, really well, and has most of the mechanics and the concepts for the game down, but doesn't really know a whole lot of the other heroes. Sometimes gets surprised when a hero can do something that he didn't expect it to. But he's getting better. Actually,